My name is Geoff Scott. I'm the CEO of ASUG, the America's SAP Users Group. We represent 120,000 SAP professionals here in North America who work for customers like you, who work for partners like LeverX, who work for SAP. We are the ecosystem of SAP's most important and progressive thinkers. Today, I'm going to ask the guys in the back of the room to maybe put the lights up a little bit so I can see all your shiny faces. I can't see anyone else out in Cyberland. But what I'd love to do is do a little bit more of an audience interactive session if you guys are okay with that, which means you get to use your phones, not to answer text messages or drop in LinkedIn messages. And I think, Ted, you've been asking for some LinkedIn stuff, right? So if you want to make sure you do that with him, that'd be great. By purposes of introduction, I have been the CEO of ASUG for the last almost 11 years. I think we're in a political system, so it's 10.6 years. I'll just round up to 11. Prior to that, I was a CIO of a fashion company. Prior to that, I was a CIO of a food company, and I spent 10 years in automotive. So I've been around this enterprise IT land for a long time. I've bought a lot of SAP software. I've spent a lot of time talking to SAP leaders about their products and services. And my job and the job of my team is to represent all the customers of SAP to make sure we, together with the partner community and SAP, make the best products possible that help us do what our businesses need to do. ASUG's mission is to help you get the most out of your SAP investment. I did not grab the clicker. Oh, it's up here. I'm always good with the clicker. Clicker. If you like email, let me add one more to your inbox every Monday morning. ASUG First 5, take a picture of that QR code. The top 5 things going on in the SAP land will appear in your inbox every Monday morning. Any First 5 subscribers in the audience? Perfect. Perfect. Not enough. So if you don't get it in your inbox. We have an amazing editorial team inside of ASUG that curates this every week. We're going to have some fun and ask you some questions. So take out your phones. If you're online, take out your phones as well. Snap this QR code, and we're going to ask you to exercise your fingers. You've been sitting in a dark room all morning and afternoon, and we're going to have some fun with that. Is that okay? Can we have some fun? Yeah? Good. Got that? What I took away from all the presentations up until this point is what we're doing as SAP professionals has changed. And what we're really talking about is maximizing your SAP investment in an AI-driven world. Something became very clear to me in today's conversations, today's presentations. And not just here today, but every place else I spend, and I'm on the road a lot talking to a lot of different customers and talking in a lot of different forums. We live in an AI-driven world. So that prompts me to ask a question of all of you via your phones. How important do you think your SAP platform will be in achieving enterprise AI? How important will your SAP platform be? See, we put skeptical up there. That was a late ad. We did that in the audience today, and I'm thrilled that someone, don't all go to skeptical, because this is going to make my job harder for the next 20 minutes. Take a moment, and if the folks are online, are welcome to participate as well. All right, if you like that, and that's good enough, take a picture of that. That's going to be business case number 1. If you're still thinking about how do you move to Cloud ERP, which used to be called S/4HANA, right? That is a very important statistic. 11 out of the group say it's going to be somewhat, and 7 say extremely. This morning, there was a slide from Marcus that said, AI must be relevant, reliable, and responsible. I'm coming back to what he said. Relevant, reliable, and responsible. If you believe your SAP platform will be a very important part of your AI strategy as an organization, then you also must believe that it has to be relevant, reliable, and responsible. Other people talk today about this. That means a couple really important things. Number 1, you've got the right data in there. Anyone doing serious archiving of their SAP implementations? Any hands in the room? If you're not, this is going to become very, very important. My colleague who just spoke a few minutes ago talked about something equally important, master data. If your master data is not accurate, if your master data does not reflect the way your business wants to do its business, your SAP implementation, your SAP core is not going to be very helpful from an AI perspective. That's where the bulk of the work has to happen. These are not trivial undertakings. I foundationally believe that AI is going to be a major source of innovation for your organizations. And I have a question for all of you online and in the audience today. Is your SAP implementation going to help enable that innovation, or is it going to stand in its way? If you think the your SAP investment is going to stand in its way, your line of business peers will run you over. They will figure out a way to move around you, under you, through you, over you, and your SAP implementation, this thing you've spent so much money on, the thing that gives you pains from a licensing perspective, will give you more pain. So think about this very carefully. As you go along this path, this data has to be important, which brings me to the next slide from a presentation this morning. Data is food for AI. Take care of it. If you believe your SAP implementation, your SAP asset, this thing you've spent millions and millions of dollars grooming, maintaining, managing, is going to be the central part of your AI strategy, you have to think about it as data as food. These are not my words. These are things that other presenters have said to you today. Where do you stand on your cloud ERP journey? What we've traditionally referred to as S/4HANA. Where do you think you stand? So answer this as well. There's more of you in the room than that. If you believe that AI will be a major part of what you do from an enterprise architecture perspective, if you believe that AI will be required for your business to innovate, it's going to necessitate three things. The first is that you're in the cloud. The second is that you think about your SAP investment as a software as a service solution. The third is that you radically decustomize. Why do I say that? Why am I, as the CEO of ASUG, SAP's largest user community, standing up here in front of you today making that point? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to innovate at scale. Number one, cloud. Why should you be in the cloud? Because that's the fastest way for you to ramp up infrastructure. How many of you are still running on-prem data centers? By a show of hands. Anyone? No hands in the audience? So good. So you agree with me on cloud, right? When you think about the future of AI, it requires this thing that we talked about earlier today called NVIDIA chips. The only place to find them is in a hyperscaler. Most companies are not at the size or scope or scale to afford or run those chips internally unless you're in the business of artificial intelligence, which is why your only way to access that technology is either going to be through here in North America. Largely, it's going to be Google, it's going to be Amazon, and it's going to be Microsoft. Your SAP implementation running in cloud will get you closer to those tools. Number two, I talked about SaaS. Why SaaS? And I think SAP's done a sloppy job of this. I think we have a long way to go with SAP on SaaS, but I think they are getting better all the time. Every year they get better. Just as the same as artificial intelligence, generative AI will get better every single year. It's the worst it's ever going to be. Meaning that we need to, as customers, move responsibility for basic code back to SAP. Why? Why should we do that? Because for the last 50 years, we've gotten really good at writing our own code. How many of you have ABAP programs running inside of your SAP implementations? I should see every hand in this audience go up, right? And for some very good reasons, because the functionality didn't exist at the time we needed it. I foundationally object to the word, technical debt being used to be a bad thing. How many of you, either in your career or have people on your staff who wake up every morning and say, today's the day I'm going to create massive amounts of technical debt and I'm going to be proud of it? Anyone? No hands in the audience. So we create technical debt because what we need to accomplish as businesses is not available to us at the time we need it. Great, that's okay. We do the best we can at the time we have it. I don't think anyone walks out and intentionally tries to create technical debt. So if we don't, that's fine. We just now have to figure out how to get rid of it. And that is hard. And that opens up a lot of pain points which are talked about throughout the day today. So move code responsibility back to SAP, software as a service. Ideally, what SAP refers to as public cloud. Most SAP customers are running on private cloud solutions. So we have a disconnect for the long term. We will have to fix that over time. Why SaaS? Because if we can't get rid of code, we can't innovate. We as customers cannot innovate at size and scale if we are always maintaining and managing code. How many of you, by show of hands in the audience, believe you spend too much time or your team spend too much time maintaining code versus really working on business innovation? Most of your hands went up. Right? Again, this is a pain point. We as customers need to move code management back to SAP. And I believe my predecessor on the stage kind of made that hint. Would you agree with me, sir? He's looking at his phone. Give him an elbow. Should we move code responsibility back to SAP so you can innovate? Yes or no? You said it in your slides. Yeah. Okay. So, third part. So I said cloud, SaaS, low to no customizations. Right? Same principle applies. Customize what you absolutely positively have to customize because that's the magic recipe of your business. If you're in the business of transportation management, you probably are going to customize around certain parts of that because that's what you do. You probably don't need to customize around human resources. I said the word probably. You probably don't have to customize around general ledger, AP, AR. Be really careful about where you're customizing, because when you customize and you step outside that boundary, you do not get to take advantage of AI at scale because AI doesn't know where to find the data. It doesn't. AI, I was with Microsoft earlier this year for 2 days. They spent time with us on all of their AI strategy. We did the same thing with SAP a few weeks ago. The gentleman who runs AI for Microsoft put up a very basic slide. I took a picture of it. Here's what he said. In a very simple font, white screen, AI is just math. Think about that for a moment. AI is just math. It's just statistical probability. That's all it is. It's not a magic elixir. It doesn't think for us. I was reading a book by Nate Silver. He's a political commentator. He's a statistician, huge poker player, so it's fun to read him about playing poker. And he said something very interesting to me in this book about AI. What he said is high-frequency traders, poker players, have something going on inside them that AI can't replicate, and it's called body chemistry. When you play high-stakes poker, you get a lot of dopamine rushes. You get a lot of testosterone rushes. And the thing that AI can't do is compute under pressure. As human beings with millions of years of evolution underneath our skin, we know how to operate under pressure. How many of you know instinctively to make the right answer because you're under pressure and it's the right answer because your body tells you so? If you've been in that zone, AI doesn't know that zone. A computer spinning in a data center on Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud or Azure, AWS, may or may not understand the thing about grace under pressure. Just something to think about. So, future for us as customers, cloud, SaaS, low customizations. Sets us up for that magic payback called innovation. How many of you believe that this new world is going to change your role? Thank you for the yeses. I think that change management is a very interesting thing. Change is good for the person that you're asking to change, not so good for us. right? We're always very good at telling others how they should change and very bad at reflecting back on us. What I just described is going to require tectonic change for us as technology professionals. It's going to change what we've learned for the last 50 years. How many of you have been in the SAP ecosystem for more than 10 years? A lot of hands went up. How many less than 5? That's the new blood. We need a lot more of you. If you've been in this ecosystem for over 10 years like I have, this whole thing is going to change. Again, my underlying message to all of you today is this. If we really need to think about low customization, software as a service, and cloud, that's not how many of our IT organizations are built today. That's not how they're structured, right? I was in a conversation a few weeks ago with someone who was a basis admin, and we were talking about some of this stuff, and they said, I'm so glad that I'm retiring in the next couple of years so I don't have to go through this. And I thought to myself, understand, but that's not a change-focused mindset. I have a dream that all of us as IT professionals, as SAP professionals working in this amazing ecosystem, we need to help our businesses unlock innovation. The prior speaker, when he talked about licensing, he's absolutely right. I had a conversation with one of the most senior SAP executives a few weeks ago in New York, and he lamented to me that as customers, we're not adopting innovation fast enough. I thought it was something of a one-handed, argument. I didn't respond well to it with him. I'm better one-on-one than I am in groups. I said, look, here's the problem. I said, you've turned most of your CIOs into purchasing managers. They spend more time arguing about licensing, contracting, understanding what to buy, what the metrics are, how to do this. They're not working on innovation. They're trying to figure out how to buy software from you. And then they're trying to figure out how to license it, how to keep compliant with it, how to do all those things. That's not unlocking innovation. You haven't made it easy on them. You made it hard. I have a board of 12 CIOs at ASUG in North America. We talk with SAP all the time. And we don't spend enough time talking about features, functionality, innovation. We spend a lot of time talking about licensing, a lot of time talking about contracting. And those are good conversations to have, but they don't unlock value. They're not value-driven conversations. This new future world is going to move a lot faster than we're used to. It's going to require us to unlock innovation faster than we ever have. It's going to require us to think about our roles inside the organizations as value drivers differently. And if we're stuck in conversations about contracting and licensing, we're going to miss the boat. That's a lot of change for us to take on as individuals and as customers. ASUG, we're here with you for the long term. We've been in the North American community for 35 years. I guarantee you we're not going anywhere. My job is to advocate on your behalf. This is a very different world. A lot of stuff is going on. This is really cool right now. I take a lot of energy and excitement from everything that all of you are doing. The stories today about innovation, the stories about thinking about this differently are really, really heartwarming. I encourage you to attend Sapphire Now and ASUG Annual Conference every May in Orlando. ASUG Tech Connect is coming up 2 weeks in West Palm Beach. ASUG Best Practices is coming up in 2 weeks. Tech Connect's coming up in about a month, 6 weeks or so in West Palm Beach. 4 weeks from now, we're going to be, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be in Houston for Best Practices. It's an industry-centric event. What LeverX does is amazing. I thank you guys. Thank you, Victor, for having me up today. We are here as a resource for you. Before I run away, is there any questions that you have for me? Any perspective you want to hear? Anything I can help share with you as I talk to all of you all the time? Anything on your mind? Is your SAP implementation helping leading innovation inside your business, or is it retarding it? If it's slowing down innovation and your line of business peers are moving around you because your SAP configuration cannot keep up, you've got work to do. We have work to do. As customers, we should be leading the curve, not slowing it up. When I was a CIO, I used to mumble about the $6 million 6-month problem. Everyone ever heard of this? Every change cost $6 million and took 6 months to pull off. We can't be there. I think one of the things about AI this morning that's different, and one of the areas we don't talk about, is how we as customers use AI to help drive up quality of our implementations, increase the cycle time so we can convert faster. I don't think we're doing enough, and this is an appeal I've given to all of the SIs and to SAP. Please use your AI tools to help us move from our ECC environments to S4 faster. Help us automate testing. And there's some amazing test automation tools out there. Help us automate code migration. Help us automate quality. Help us automate data migration. Foundational parts of any movement from ECC to S4 and beyond, because if we continue to have to do this manually, it'll take too long and it will cost too much money. So we absolutely positively have to automate. We need these AI tools, and I need your help every time you're with your SAP account reps, every time you're with your SIs talking about projects. How can you help me automate this? So it doesn't require hands and brains to do it. Because if it requires that, there's a big time factor involved, and I guarantee you we will make mistakes. As human beings, we're really good at making mistakes. We're also really good at learning. But we're working in a high stakes, at lunch today, we were talking about, and all of you have been through SAP implementations, you've all been there at go live nights. That feeling of testosterone, that feeling of dopamine, that feeling of panic that sets in, right? Anyone know what I'm talking about? That feeling of, oh God, I hope this works, right? That feeling, while I respect it and it keeps us on our toes, which by the way is a feeling AI doesn't have, if we can take that down because everything is working as planned, we've succeeded. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. The only thing I can give you as a gift is 5 minutes of your time back. If you have any questions for me, I'm always here for you. Victor, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here with all you today. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.